None of the Octagon action. Back to the normie MegaRandom here, but some names out, some new ones in. As Beastie will make his return here in the pink, but rounding out next to him very close by, we've got an addition here. OPA, playing as the HRE. OPA that I still do not know the identity of, but this person is very high ranked. In fact, they are 9th in the world right now. I want to know who they are. I really do. I got a feeling it's a Smurf. I kind of hope it's not, but I think it is. And whoever they are, 142 games played, 78.9% win rate. Pretty damn good for 9th place. They should deliver some fun here, especially when they spawned close to BC at the beginning. HRE versus French. I'm pretty hyped to see that. Let's check it on the yellow. It looks like we've got a new name. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. If I'm not mistaken, that's Arabic, correct? So I guess we'll just call him Lawrence of Arabia. No, let's not do that. We'll just call him Arabia. If he played the English, I would have called him Lawrence of Arabia. We'll wrap down the south side. It looks like in the red, we are going to have Kyo joining in as a Delhi. Then, of course, going across the west, it's going to be Master XY. I think that's meant to be Mastery spelled incorrectly. In fact, let's just check where Mastery is. They are 4,125th in the world, so not a pro-level player, but decent. And apparently yellow is Salami. I should have known. Okay, so it looks like we've got Salami back in the MegaRandoms. That seems more fitting here. I was wondering where he was. Must have not got the memo earlier on, so it looks like we are getting pretty stacked here. And then, of course, we continue up. Blue is going to be caught. Looks like gets the Abbasses this time, not with the speed mod, so isn't going to be overpowered per se. And a close-by neighbor in Estif, who, of course, was the English in that last game, wasn't able to achieve much. Let's see if he can deliver more this time as the Roos. And then, of course, rounding out in the center, my fellow Brit Rack Attack, a.k.a. Recon. Central Island for himself, also playing as the Abbasids. Apparently some points being made about relics. I don't think there's that many. It's just 2. It's just 2 relics, guys. Chill. Don't be crazy about this. So 2 relics starting, but actually the person that got a lot of relics, has close access at least to a lot of them, would probably be Recon. If you look around his base, he's got about 5 different relics that seem feasible to gain in this game. And the cool thing is, like, you know, he could surprise people as the Abbas is going for them. It's not actually often that we say the Abbas go for them. And I just realized I didn't call him out for the sub when he gave it earlier, so he deserves it on the recording because I screwed up. Shout out to On The Mark 1. Apologies I didn't call you out for giving me the sub. Appreciate you, bud. Thank you for the support. Whoops. Can't believe I missed that one between games. It's just been so exciting getting back and forth between MegaRandoms. I've been starved off them for several days, which is a crime in itself, by the way. Glad we could finally fix that by getting some on the calendar here. And by the way, for those wondering, this game is indeed live, so we are catching this as it happens. If you watch this on the YouTube side later, you could be doing so too by checking out twitch.tv/KillerPigeon. Okay, that's enough self-shilling. Let's focus on the opening of the game. I might actually speed up just to allow them to get through, because this looks like it shouldn't be too aggressive outside the potential between Beastie and his next door neighbor, Opa. But Opa is going to probably wait until Castle, so it comes down to whether Beastie is going to try to tower rush him, and yep, there it is. Beastie is the French, is trying to outpost block onto the goal to make sure he has the resource that he most crucially needs in this early game, and his opponent does not. Outside that, most other players playing very condensed, not getting too aggressive here. Core, wait. Actually, no, it's Mastery's Chinese. I didn't even mention that. Mastery is fairly well defended as well, with only Kyo as a neighbor. Kyo could try and go for an early elephant rush, and it might be the benefit of the grand scheme of the game. Because if this goes hyper late game, you want the corner to yourself. Otherwise, the Chinese player's most logical targets are going to be to take you out first, as he'll want a corner to himself, so he can just camp up, go hyper imperial late game, and then spam grenadiers to a never-ending display that makes us all vomit across our keyboards. Don't act like you aren't disgusted by it. Unless maybe you're a Chinese spammer, in which case you probably love it. It's like defensive outpost. Oh, gonna have to go up for OPA as BC is getting a little bit cheeky, but for good reason. He's starting to stack up the knights in the field. Estif, in the meantime, is going to make his way up to Castle Age. How is Estif doing? Pretty condensed. Minding his own business and going for the back Abbey of Trinity to make sure that nobody is going to be a problem for him. Meanwhile, cool. He's starting to extend out with the TCs, and for good reason, folks. He's got a lot of wiggle room back here. Like, holy crap. This is just a free corner. Well, it is Court going for a corner, and it's kind of... Whoa. Wait. Hold up. Is it me, or could this be one of the most epic wonder locations we could get? You'd have to hold the high ground, but like you've got natural choke points. You could just layer in outposts. I'm game for it. I kind of want it now. To see if it happens. It's like Burgrave now coming out from OPA. He's going to try to rush Beastie. Beastie, is he going to be prepped for it? Like, how is he building for this? I think he wants to go multi-TC. He didn't go fishing either. He could find himself incredibly vulnerable in the coming minutes. Does he even have this scouted? Okay, so he at least knows it's coming, so he should be able to address it, but he'll have to be fast about this. He's going to sneak a guild hall over the side where OPA cannot see. More outposts crawling around, but that's not going to stop the build-up. He needs to make sure that OPA doesn't get the resources, and it looks like OPA... Where are the resources right now? What is the intent behind this play? He has no food. I mean, Boar is not going to sustain you, my friend. He's got some sheep in reserve, but he needs to move out of here. The question is, where do you go? Because Beastie has fully contained you. Running around into the field is definitely not going to be advised here. At least blocks this outpost going up, but even if he shifts out this way, it's not going to be a freebie making your way over the deer, consider the Knights are prowling through the midfield. Spear's coming out. I guess Regnitz doesn't really serve a purpose either, as you can't get out of your base, but still, like the Burgrave, you can't really afford anything out of this. Even Spearman feels too expensive right now for his baby level economy. Just trying to stack them up as fast as possible in the meantime, though. Meanwhile, Mastery is starting to extend his influence to the north side with secondary TC onto one of the condensed locations of resources. Pretty cool spawn here, actually. It's broken up into a few different, like, stacked areas. You can see huge area back here that is going to be exploitable by Keo. Plenty of Mastery's base over here as well. Central Island looks luscious and will be very exploitable for Recon as he shifts down from the north side. On the side that's a little bit barren is going to be over here on the edge where Core is. That being said, Core has a ridiculous amount of stone in this area. So maybe that wonder victory isn't unattainable after all. We'll have to see. Might as well speed up, try and catch up. Spearman able to block this out. Looks like they might be his redeeming quality, but realistically, he did not need a Burgrave for this. Like, the Burgrave hasn't really done much. And oh, those are Sprinkled placements. That's going to start to sting quite a bit. Meanwhile, Yoinksy time. OPA waves the white flag, understandably. He dove with the Spearman. They didn't do anything in the end. Wollows, what the hell is going on here? This is a party time. Is it me, or is Keo getting a few too many relics? It's almost like a Delhi player reached Castle Age. And he's playing the map right. What way to do it with the transpo ship as well. Moving up and down river. He's going to be able to yield a lot of these relics. In fact, is anyone going to be able to compete? So we highlight that Recon could have had the value, but he's not gone for it. Have the Chinese gone into a temple at all? It doesn't look like it. I don't think any other player competes. The only one, yeah, would be Estif that will get 1 or 2. But most of these relics are just going to be banked by Keo. What an absolute god. There's still plenty more to get. Salami, meanwhile, in this area. Oh, hello. Salami Army's going to be happy to say that the boy is going to be trading. Damn, I'm still so impressed by that play from Keo. Not enough people use transpo ships like this, but it's going to yield him big results. 5 relics in the corner as the Delhi. Oh, it couldn't be much better than this for him. In fact, this might be an opportunity to try and get close to live. As it looks like a little stalemate, a build-up. Looks like trade is going to start coming out. Core is trading. Mastery should do something about this. He sees it. Not reacting just yet. In the meantime, Elephanto fun time as Keo starts to crawl in. He's going to build some keeps on the edge of the base as he looks to just try and block Mastery out of this. Starts to move in. Now with that staging point, this can get dangerous. Keo did go for the combat defender, so he can start to layer these in quick. Needs to actually start getting the village fortresses, stack up that research. Get to unlimited villager firepower, and Core now in with the dominant keep. And he's slaughtering Mastery. Mastery doesn't realize it even because he's being attacked back in his base. Eco count is shrinking quicker than he can rebuild. That's going to delay him. Heavy pull away from the gold vein in the end. Core feeling very comfortable in this game right now. Looks like he gets everything he wants. Cake and gets to eat it. Even gets to drop his balls in it. Don't know why you do that. I really don't know why you do that, but I blame American Pie. It's their fault. Talking about dropping your balls on someone about to drop their balls on Mastery's head. I mean, he's just being bullied right now. Treb's now starting to stack up. Elephant's coming forward as well. Uh-oh. You got China. That's it. That's the unlucky detail here. You didn't choose it, but you got it. So in some ways, you deserve this. And he won't last very long. The best move he can make is Mastery. He could try and shift north and build another landmark, but how far can you get away? Core, by the way, has finally found those barriers at the backside. I wonder if he's thinking what I felt earlier. This looks like a very good corner for a wonder. Build the outpost on the high ground, and then watch people try and run through here and get massacred. All you really have to do is actually hold the high ground. If they try to rush through, cannons kill them from the high. Kyo. Salami might actually counter him soon. Yeah, I think Salami might be the bane of Kyo's existence in the coming minutes. This is Salami, by the way. I guess I should probably get the name tags up. You guys do like the name tags, so you can tell, don't you? So let me just fix that quickly for you, because I know you guys love that. So obviously, rack, attack, equals recon. And then Arabic stuff. Is that offensive? I don't think that's offensive, right? Arabic writing equals Salami. Is there anyone else you guys are unfamiliar with? Cool. Equal dog. There we go. Okay, that's mean. Does that mean? I still don't know who OPA is. Wait, that's Hindi? Oh, is it Hindi? Whoops, sorry. Okay, I asked if that was Arabic earlier and nobody said anything. Apologies. Apologies that I'm an ignorant English pig. By the way, can I just highlight, that's the issue. That was the detail everyone took offense by. Not what I'd done to Core. This is what the internet is turning me into. Alright, let's focus on the game a little. Poor Core. Actually, he's not poor at all. He's having a good game. He's setting up the defenses. He's getting a big chunk of territory. I could easily see him heading for a wonder victory very fast, especially with the way he loved Donkey. He loves so much Donkey. Did he go for the trade wing early on? Damn right he did. And now he's getting into the Spice Roads. Oh, yeah. Taste that gold. 172 gold per. Woo. Good lordy, over 2k gold per minute. Feeling pretty good right now. Meanwhile, Northside Recon starting to be a thorn in SDF side. He's had too much of a free game here. Finally reaches up in Imperial at the worst time as the dive through comes in. Several villages, plenty of villages in fact, are going to be fallen. We'll try and get a keep up because there was a keep coming up because there's a crawl through Siege Workshop as well. Recon, what a ratty move. You dirty little trash panda. And then the upside right now for Diff is Core's like, that isn't my problem. I don't know you. I don't want any part of that. I'm just going to wall this up and we won't even look at each other. This is about to look pretty ugly in SDiff's face. It's stabilized to begin with, but won't take too long for Trebs to start coming out. And remember that Recon hasn't actually made his way up yet. He's only now starting to tech up, so it's going to be heavily delayed by that. Meanwhile, it looks like Beastie is very content to stay in his corner long term, at least for now. In fact, Beastie, most likely target should be, yeah, okay, definitely going to be Salami now, as he chose to fight. Salami says there can be only one Frenchman. Sort of correct. No one said it had to be you, though. Let's see how that works out. Salami, how's his eco looking in comparison? So, hasn't got that big of a reserve. Beastie looking a lot weaker right now, a lot more exploitable here. And they are both locked in Castle Age right now. So no big impop just yet. And Treb's already in the field, assaulting onto the keeps. That's going to shrink the map very fast for Beastie. That's why we get a hard pull of villagers. Pull of villagers that might be exposed soon because Beastie's front line is looking pretty weak at this stage. Keep now on fire. Don't hold too much longer. Knights now have to back up. That's going to sacrifice over the villagers. He tries to turn around while they're distracted. New Treb fire coming in. Isn't going to be enough to end the keep straight away, but you have to keep committing the villagers. That means you're going to be committing yourself to a downward spiraling eco count alongside the military that looks baby level right now. Salami is in full control of this fight. Fully wrap onto the villagers. Trebs will get through their target. In fact, if he turns to the torches, he would be able to finish that quicker. Instead, he'll just finish off all the villagers. Secondary keep going up behind this, but barely any villagers invested by Beastie. Means that this should just be a push through. Salami will gain a lot of ground here. Meanwhile, north side of the map, Recon getting rid of the forward keeps, and all of a sudden, Estif looking very different to the angry creature he was a moment ago. Now he looks like a cowering little snake in the corner. Corner that he no longer has access to. Meanwhile, Kyo did get through Mastery. He finally ended him. Although that death seemed like an inevitability in the end. Now he needs a new target. And you know, I do kind of wonder, in the animal kingdom, what would happen if elephants did taste donkey? We might find out very soon. Before we watch our elephant enthusiasts really cut Beastie down to size. Eco, still very powerful for him, but the lack of units is the problem, and the keeps are not lasting long enough now. Full Trebuchets is making short work of this. Now up to 5, it's going to be even quicker. I think Core is still getting the freest game I could possibly imagine here. Pop capped up, 191. Oh, yep. It's the typical Abasa game. Oh man, this is gonna get disgusting. I can already sense it. So the only reason I don't think Core is gonna commit to the corner here for a wonder is just because he only has 2 landmarks. He can't move them. But he still has a lot of ground to exploit. And that ground can be absolutely just slam dunk full of outposts with cannon upgrades. He can definitely afford it as well. Look at the stone. The stone's remarkable. Just remember, second resources return is indeed the stone. Because remember, you can choose what you get. I'm surprised that he didn't set up donkeys here, though. Feels like it would have been pretty worth. All in all, though, the issue for Core is he needs a lot more wood right now. There is plenty of patchwork in the area that he can exploit long-term, though, so he's not running out anytime soon. Beastie, in the meantime, just GG'd out. Even though Salami still had a long way to go, Beastie just couldn't be arsed with it anymore. He waves the white flag. GG's out of this one, and Salami, now the only French player with a huge chunk of the map to himself. Let's see if he moves fast on the Recon, because Recon right now is looking to finish off Estif. Kyo, in the meantime, makes his way up in Imperial as a Delhi player, Lamau. Someone's asking, why do Abbasid players' scouts make the most noise? It's quite simple. They had to be the best at something. Making noise is about it. Whether it's villagers dying or scouts yelling, if there's one area the Abbasids are #1 in, it's crap that you can hear that you wish you couldn't hear. Recon. Well, it seems that Diff isn't just waving the white flag, but this is pretty much done for him. Recon gets this entire chunk to himself, and I wonder if Tench is going to turn to Core then, or if Salami and Kyo are going to start fighting, because they have got very close borders, but so far, that's been a nice status quo for both of them. Could change now that Kyo's up in Imperial. Salami could perceive him as a bigger threat. Usually the delegating Imperial isn't a big deal, but considering games go so late, they usually are able to eventually reach their tech timing, so it might be to Salami's benefit to take out the Delhi before they get their tech up advantages. See how long some of these are going to take. Zeal, 5 minutes away. There's plenty of researchers that should be a lot longer there if you look towards things like Raxes and whatnot, which I think he set up some of. Yep, this side. Hasn't even started researching yet. Wait, what? He has great research rates as well. You'll finally remember. So elite stats coming out quite quick. Salami, he's just chill state right now. I think this is where we speed this up a bit, because things have once again slowed down. Salami will just choose to put up the defensive walls. Doesn't want any war of Kyo anytime soon. Probably trying to convince him that that little snake in the west, the Abbasid, needs to be brought down a peg or two. Maybe they're thinking about aligning. Maybe they're thinking about re-emerging the Abbasid Empire, orange and blue. Sounds like a fabulous paint job for a Subaru. Horse archers now. Ugh, I don't like this. I think Estif feels a bit stuck. When you go horse archers against the Abbasid, you feel stuck. At least upgrade them. The camel archers are going to trade out really damn well. I mean, just look at this. This is ridiculous. Enjoy your reduced damage, guys. That's great damage you've got there. Streltsy is the only reason he's able to redeem himself at the end of the fight slightly, but a horse archer is definitely not the way, especially with a new wave coming in of camel archers. Horsemen as well. Chase him all the way back. Streltsy try to stand their ground, but they can't for long. Diff is going to lose this army and very quickly lose complete control of his base. Good news is I think we're reaching a point where Core is looking at the shinies. You know what he wants. He needs to sort his wood, and then it's going to be a wonder. Setting up new wall lines, additional outposts. It's going to make it frustrating for his opponents. He's not going to rush towards it. He wants to make sure he's got bulked up reserves so he can just unlimited push military force to defend against the remaining players. One player less soon. As Recon starts to target down the primary TC and the Golden Gate. Treb's reaching into that the whole while Diff continues to surrender ground, and there's just nothing left. No way in hell he can bring his way back in. Villagers pulled across, but that shows the desperation. Sacrifices the last of his eco, just a middle finger before GGing out. Diff will be your fourth player out. Just like that, free remain. Kyo has established the Great Delhi Empire now in the corner. The French tip their hats to him, not looking to engage with it directly. And now it's just the Abbasids to the north that can really upset the status quo. Someone needs a new target. Salami, he's insulating himself along this riverfront, but I don't think he directly wants to fight. Recon might not feel the same way, though. You can see he's prowling around this area, willing to leave Core alone. Says fellow Abbasid brother, why we need fight. I wonder, they don't know about the layout of the base. The biggest threat does look like Core. So you'd think that they want to turn upon him, but maybe Core and Recon just have an agreement. I love this, actually. We never talked about this detail from Recon because we haven't really looked across the layout of his base. This is really nice. He didn't do what Core done. This is ugly, abhorrent. Both your landmarks on the same screen in this situation. Recon was really smart about layering himself. His primary TC, by the way, was Center Island, remember, down here. So he went pretty far out of his way to protect himself. Understood that, like, being the Abbasids, like, there's no value in, like, quickly teching up, per se. Core did take a slightly different approach, trying to get the value out of the trade earlier on, and it has paid off. But it does mean he's quite exposed. He needs to condense his defenses pretty heavy in one location. Whereas Recon maybe having a little bit more opportunity to spread himself thin and go patrolling with the camels. So now we start thinking about who should be targeted out next. Well, if we worry about power levels, so you've got the French, the Delhi, and the Abbasids. Now, there's no clear front runner here. You're not dealing with Mongols in late game. You're not dealing with the Chinese in late game in MegaRandom. You are dealing with the Abbasids, though. And I think the Abbasids are pretty underrated in this hyper late game. The problem with the Abbasids is getting there. They're a very easy civ to shut down early on, block out, whatnot. If they do get this late into the game, though, they get ungodly to deal with because of this. The Golden Age is like the real problem. When you get to the tier 3 and you unlock that production speed, look what it does to your production lines. Your production lines are already thick as. Spearmen every 9 seconds. Man-at-Arms every 13 seconds. Camel Archers, no problem, 21 seconds. It's very hard to wipe an army and gain much ground if the Abbasid player has a big enough eco. And the reason they get enough eco is because the meta has shifted. A lot of Abbasid players don't build military early on. You can see Core is now shifted across, but remember early on he was over 190 economy because the goal here is to build up a ridiculous stockpile of resources so that you can just unlimited push troops. And if you get into that locked horns fight with an opponent, you'll just outmass them. you'll definitely gain ground over them because you're able to replace what was lost so much quicker. And remember, what you're replacing, like, it's more efficient. Military wing ensures that when you get to the boot camp, getting the extra 15% health on all your infantry, it's very difficult to just keep up that trade level with this Civ. Recon, fair point being made, actually. Recon has completely ignored the Golden Age. He probably could have laid it in as well. There's an interesting sacrifice coming out from him. Now, I'll say he does have enough room on this island to build up a big enough military compound. It shouldn't matter. But the issue is that usually with the Abbasses, like, your front line becomes your military production lines, as you can see with Core. Like, you just thicken them so much. They create choke points, and they're part of your Golden Age, and you can push out them so fast, it's advantageous. Speaking of advantageous, this guy's been at the bar all night, and I think it's time someone cut him off. Someone just has to acknowledge this is too much now. Like, the amount of trade that Core has gotten, this doesn't compare. Like, what Kyo's doing doesn't even remotely compare. He started doing it a lot later. He's not an Abbasid. The only other player that can be that powerful in trade is the French. And right now, the French aren't even trading. In fact, I'm starting to wonder why Salami even bothered. I guess he didn't want to go Knights, but the weird part is he did... Wait, he is trading. Okay, ignore that. He's trading with the corpse of Beastie. Wait, so, hold on a sec. Slam Core is trading, guys. Someone's got to leak this information. Kyo and Recon join together, band together, brothers. It's time to overcome the filthy mercentiles. This is still a lot worse for Salami, by the way. Salami shouldn't be your prime target. The Abbasses should. Core is getting so much more worth out of this. Silk Road, everything else. All the tech ups that you get with the trade wing. You see some of them here. You get the Grand Bazaar, so you can choose an additional second resource, 25% of the total value. And on top of that, the Spicy Roads as well. Increasing the gold income by 30%. You just can't compete. In a super duper late game, I do quite like the French, just because, in comparison to the Abbasids, just because they can choose what they get. Problem is, like, you know, in a vacuum at this kind of point before the hour mark, Abbasid trade just feels so much better. Starting it up feels a lot better as well. It's much easier to make a return on your investment compared to being the French. It really has hit a stalemate for the players. This is what I was highlighting before about the idea of game-ending state mechanics, or game end state forcing mechanics. Basically, things designed to force you towards a finish. And this is something that becomes more and more popular in game design these days, because even if you're in a competitive esport, it's to your advantage to force faster game ends simply because it enables more players to play your game who otherwise wouldn't have enough time. On top of that, from a production standpoint, esports perspective standpoint, it's more cost efficient. You know, if you think games are regularly going to go for 3 hours plus, that's a lot of overtime you have to pay your employees. That's a lot of extra days you have to book an arena for. These details really matter. Now, I'm not saying that MegaRandom is going to be the true esport for Age of Empires 4, but, like, you know, the competitive element to this can be somewhat bogged down, I'd say, by the risk of these games becoming a stalemate like this. And that's why a lot of games create these... What's the word I'm looking for? These aggressive points, these actions that force your attention. It's why I was highlighting things before, like the whole idea of dropping care packages, where if you capture this point on the map that gets announced and drops in 3 minutes, if you capture it like you would a sacred site, when you complete that capture, the player who captured it will get 5,000 of each resource and then it despawns, sort of thing. I quite like those type of ideas because they just force people to play towards something. It's why, by the way, Company of Heroes, no matter like how many people hate or love it, consistently have been using the same victory point system where you have to capture victory points that tick down towards a win condition. It's very powerful. It encourages people to play outside of their base. And you could argue, like, Age of Empires 4 normal, does it need it? Doesn't it need it? I think, like, the AV4 state of 1v1s is getting a lot more healthy away from just always turning into that dragged state of affairs. But I definitely think there's a lot of work to still be done with MegaRandom to encourage people to come out. I think one cool thing that maybe could be done is, and maybe it would be broken, but when you kill a player, you should get their resources. That probably isn't broken in itself because a lot of players tend to drain themselves dry when they're dying. But the alternative is like maybe it should be like a there's a cool idea is actually maybe making it so that when someone kills a player, they get some of their the recently calculated income for the next few minutes on a degradation rate. So like, you know, you start off getting 100% and then with each minute passing you lose 10% of the passive. Just these type of things. Like, I think it encourages people to play a lot more in the mid game. It might just be an issue with like game speed as well. Like something that was cool was watching the speed increase. It was broken because they had the instant production. I think just like a speed increase of like 1.8 times on a big map like MegaRandom could do a lot for forcing the game end state faster. And I know people like very picky about the idea of that in 1v1s because, you know, like 1v1s probably... I still think 1v1s would benefit from a speed increase personally, but like maybe not as much 1.8. But like on big maps like this, just speeding up the gameplay a little bit makes sense just because the way people play early. People just don't care early. They don't engage with it. If they can, they'll just boom up. And people are asking what the Wonder was, who built it. Let's be real here, guys. There was only one person who was ever building this Wonder. Core has gone for it now. 14 minutes out. Is going to force the game end state. Just as we were saying, things were beginning get a little bit stagnant. He fixes it. The problem is that now it's 3 versus 1, and you just allowed Core for 48 minutes straight to trade. Good luck killing him. I just want to reiterate, like, game time modifier is one of the things I suggest, but like, it doesn't have to be that. It could just be more game mechanics that force and encourage, or reward rather, early and mid-game aggression, as opposed to just sitting in the corner, building up to Imperial. I think that's actually something that's really healthy about what we've done with competitive play, with things like Frisian Marches. We've encouraged people to not just rush Imperial. We've encouraged them to play the game. And that's the problem with MegaRandom right now. MegaRandom has so much potential, but it needs to be more than just me Imperial up and zook, 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 kill. The diplomacy is fun, and like going, this Chinese player needs to die, this person's trading, they need to die, it's cool. But outside that, like outside that imminent requirement because someone's doing something valuable like, oh my god, Core's trading! Which, by the way, it took them 50 minutes to communicate this. They just sit there. And, you know, you might argue that's disingenuous. You saw some aggression here. We saw detrimental aggression, actually. If you think about what happened in this corner, OPA and BC got locked horns. OPA eventually dies. But BC wastes so much time having to block him in that he doesn't boom up himself, and then Salami comes to punish him for that. So who's the winner in the end? It's the guy who sat back and boomed. And these case points make the point. This is what we always see, and this is why I would love to see some sort of reward for people actually bothering to take out players early on. Some people might think the idea of getting like their income for a few minutes is OP, or getting their reserve resources OP. But I don't think, like, especially resources, I don't think it's that OP. People don't have that much in reserve when they die, unless they are just doing what Core does. In which case, like, honestly, if you get through this base and he somehow has reserve resources, you deserve whatever the hell he had. Salami's had enough this BS. He will begin the trade, and Core will not. Now look at the value. Now we're reaching the stage I was talking about where the French feel better for trading. These donkeys are ass. Yes, I made that joke. Yes, you can hate me. But let's be real. While the donkeys over there were ass, these boys got the booty. 286. And then, of course, when it's not gold you're trading for, 372. Salami now even building the proxy base. The best part actually is like Salami had already stacked the trade and he needed a way of accessing this. And Core just gave it to him. In fact, if they get rid of Core's Wonder, I'm pretty sure Salami is going to be the one going for it next because his trade is going to build him up to ridiculous degrees. And they're going to waste so much time getting to him as well. I just hope Kyo and Recon have reserves. Yeah, Kyo is looking sizable. Recon, less so, but should have some still in the bank after all this. Especially the way that Core is getting stretched right now. Still got to buy a lot of time. 10 minutes away. And Recon, what? Recon is going for the Wonder. I think he's misread this. You need to be close yourself to the Wonder, otherwise everyone pulls back. In fact, I think we might see one or two players pull back. I wouldn't be surprised if Salami slows down now. Because now he can't win the game, but he should be the most comfortable to do so. So it would take his time. He'll let Kyo throw an army or two away. He'll force a hard investment in Recon to breach. And then maybe he'll come through and finish the Wonder, but the timing should line up in a way that Recon's eco has been heavily hit. This definitely felt way too greedy. I think the problem with what Recon's done here is that they know. Like, sometimes I wonder if in the moment players forget that when they're building up like this, it's seen. Because he's building it up so slow. Looks like he's going to speed it up a little bit now, but... Now Kyo, as expected, is going to be diving the army in. Trying to hold a foothold with the keep. Going up. And Salami will probably begin to accelerate a little bit here. Can't wait around too long. Core, less than 10 minutes to go, but you can see very quickly that someone is starting to reach where your landmarks are located. Only static defenses to hold them at bay from Core, though. Core, a guy who is sick and tired of 1v1s, but every time you say the words MegaRandom Nomad, his tail wags and his eyes, they light up. That's when you know he's just a little bit overexcited. Bombards. Is there enough to make this fast? You are going to have to speed this up somewhat. There's a lot of static defenses to get through. Trebs could be the answer. If you have a distraction force, and it looks like Kyo is proving a good distraction here. He's got a foothold. Still building up those keeps, and wasn't fully denied in the end as Core had to turn attention elsewhere. Now the push from Salami. This should be the hair that breaks the camel's back. Literally in this situation, but seriously, like you can't keep up with 3 layers like this. It's 3 entirely different strikes. Nice move, I was about to say by Recon. He needs to set up outposts over here to stop a sneak in. We'll be able to do so, because one concern is if you can get close enough with boom ships, bye-bye. That's something to think about here. And it looks like Trebs are now prepping over here from Salami, so we'll try to open the way somewhat. Probably look to blow up these outposts and then sneak across on a transpo ship. Let's be fast about it. Him and Recon starting to converge in the center. Getting close here, and it's a difficult approach now for Core. Still over 7 minutes out, and not that far to go, really. And the south side is my real concern here, because actually, if Kyo realizes it and he starts to dive in hard here, gets some new bombards in the front line, he has the clearest route in. The easiest route, in fact. It's like, for now, Core is going to push Recon back past the fold. And Recon needs to be careful, because if he goes too far back, this will allow a rebuild of the walls. That'll slow him down further. I just don't feel like Kyo's heart is in this. It feels so slow. And I don't understand why. Like, he has so much resource. If he just builds a full line of siege workshops in the front line, like, he could be in and done. And then all attention turns to to Recon. But the way he's done this just feels very detrimental. Almost feels like he saw the wonder go up for Recon and his heart just isn't in it. It's like, what am I fighting for anymore? What are my beautiful elephants dying for? For my entertainment. It's just like when I play Zoo Tycoon. That's right. I do know how that wall between the lion and elephant enclosure got deleted. The truth will shock you. Recon. Giving over even more ground, like horseman push. I'm starting to have my doubts about their ability to breach fast enough here. This is slowed down drastically. The best approach might be to have someone just zerg crap and then someone else commit to only siege. And then you converge the crap in the center to cannon fodder while the siege just keeps breaching. Like, this three-pronged assault, you're seeing exactly what I highlighted earlier. It's the Golden Age. The Golden Age is so vile at this stage. The 20% increased production speed means if you look at Core's pop cap, he's always pop capped. He's never going below 190 here. And all he has to keep doing is pushing crap. However, he is coming to his limits here. He needs to make sure he calibrates his food appropriately on the backside. His farms are starting to get slammed into by elephants. Humans eat wheat, and elephants eat humans. Natural order of the world. Recon getting sneaking again, but the rate at which they're killing keeps is... Well, let's just say I don't think they realize how many keeps are behind that one. In fact, Let's just have a look at how many keeps Core has on the map in total. Yep, just 16 casual keeps, and about 14 of them are defending the Wonder. Oh my. Do we want to check on Outposts again? Yeah, just a casual 31 with all with cannon placements. Not quite your 300 score we've seen before in MegaRandom, but still a sizable chunk. Like your elephants are at risk of being chunked away at if you dive them in like this. The spears, that's going to be free trades for them. Keo, this is not how you use elephants. I'm going to question how much he plays the Deli right now, because that's just a throwaway. A lot of troops going down there. More ground in the center, at least gained by Salami. But folks, we're less than 5 minutes out. And Recon's army is once again pushed back to his base. This is taking way too long. Finally, we're getting the forward infrastructure. This should have been here about a year ago for Keo. If he had the forward bombards, maybe he'd be making more gains. Maybe he'd be shrinking this Rax line faster. Because it's taking so long. Yeah, if you think that this took him at least 5 minutes, and we have 4 minutes left, and he's not even half the way. I hate to sound like a negative Nelly here, but this might be a positive on the score for Core. Recon still just not moving his ass. He's taking so long with this. It's crazy as well. He's got decent reserves. A little bit too paranoid. And look, this paranoia needs to go. Like, I understand that you want to win, but this is going to stop you from winning entirely. Like, these horsemen being here, anything being here, everything not being committed to the cause. The literal cause of Core. And Salami, I mean, let's not even begin to talk about the push from him. This has been a very fine amount of cannons coming out. Never able to gain the grounds. Small proxy base, really not just paying dividends. And where's the trade? Okay, thank God. I thought he'd lost the trade for a second there. Only 52 trades, hasn't got infinite resources. Yeah, I just don't see it anymore. Honestly, these guys, their coordination, like if they were trying to do a human pyramid, it would just turn into a human plank. They are not on the same wavelength. If they went tango dancing together, the issue that there'd be 3 people dancing tango together aside, they would trip over each other in the first 10 seconds. In fact, I don't feel like they've synced up their attack once. Recon's attacking now. Salami just finished. Keo is rebuilding as well. So here's what's going to happen. Recon's going to back away again. Keo's then going to attack. He's going to get wiped. Then Salami's going to attack, and he's going to get wiped. And then Recon, after not fully committing his forces, is going to come back in again and run away. Am I an oracle? Am I the true wonder here? Do I live in Notre Dame? Or have I just seen the past and know it's the future? This actually looks pathetic to watch. It feels like the beginning of one of those movies where, like, you know, someone gets given a team that they're going to have to coach back to greatness, and they're like, they just watch them fail to even punt a ball into an open goal. It's like, you guys need coaching. I'm not saying I'm the coach, but they needed someone behind this, someone leading the path, leading the way. I think Recon just completely grinded any potential trust they had with a very unneeded wonder at a very unneeded time. Credit to Core, though. He got away with playing trade the whole time. And the funny part is this is the failed understanding, like, the optics side, right? Like, when you play against a civ like the Abbasids, you know, when you see the Chinese, like, Chinese needs to go first. Abbasids is probably, like, the least valuable in a lot of people's eyes. If you ask most players to rank their most powerful civs in MegaRandom, this is probably 7th or 8th. But it's deceitful, because when you get to trade for free, you win. Not only did only 1 or 2 people spot the trade and not call it, but also nobody wanted to stop it. And thus, this became an inevitability. You have to respect this. I've highlighted before, yes, the Abbasids suck in the early mid game. But if they get to go through to the hyper late game, if they get trade going and the level 3 Golden Age, they are an unstoppable beast. And that is why Core gets the just win here. With 15 seconds left to go, No way in hell to reach through. The prayer hall of Ukbar will reign supreme, and Core, man, this boy is stacking up the wins in MegaRandom as he adds another one to the list. Imagine lose on a 3v1. Wouldn't be me. Oh, sorry guys. Just let me fix that. I spelt Core's. I spelt the actual name wrong. Hans, let me get that right. There we go. I fixed it. That's much better.